And you know I never been tested, cause my rights I keep it protected. And the test is causing infections and then masses out of the question. So y'all say I'll be grinding, then y'all say I'll be rhyming, but I listen very closely and it sound like y'all lying. And you know I never been tested, cause my rights I keep it protected. And the test is causing infections and then masses out of the question. I set up a trust, all these businesses bubbling like I'm boiling the moss. I pull up in the coloring. Pardon me as I deliver my soliloquy. Poetry that's smooth in essence like I ink calligraphy. Always be accusing me of raising up the frequency, and I stay secluded with my oracle so peacefully. Listen to
Welcome, Queen Afua. It's a pleasure having you here.
Thank you so much for having me. It's my pleasure being here.
Yes, ma'am. This is the time where I like to reflect on my mother, my grandmother, when I meet powerful women such as yourself. I want to bless you with my book.
Thank you.
Which is coming right now.
Yes. Thank you. Oh,
that's
amazing.
My journey with your brother, Dr. Sebi.
My journey with Dr. Sebi. Thank you.
I want to bless you with some batana.
Ooh.
That's some cream from Honduras.
From Honduras, yes,
it's
indeed.
Good for your skin and your hair.
Okay.
And this is the Dr. Sebi loved this thing, stingless bee honey.
For the eyes you mentioned.
For the eyes, yes.
Wonderful. I'll use this tonight.
Yes, yes. And I wanted to know what you think about the drawings that when you came in on the wall.
Well, that is creating a strong legacy. Imagery reminds us who we are and where our medicine came from and who took the journey. So the images is a continuation of us. It's from ancient Kemet. The images are still on the walls. The artifacts are still there, although much has been stolen off the land. But what it still remains continues to help us to continue a legacy of greatness, of healing. And as we look at what's on the temple walls here, we study now deeper those who carried the torch of wellness and healing, and then it helps us in this generation and generations to come. So it's extremely important to see our own image. Yes.
I'm so glad that you said that. I would love your blessing to put this on my wall.
Wow.
When I heard you was coming, Emiliano, a friend of mine,
amazing.
He made this last night and he Ubered it to me this morning to make sure that you was able to see it and hopefully sign it before you leave.
It would be my honor. Thank you so much. I'm here. Well, we set up the altar for Dr. Sebi, so I'm here in the presence of greatness. Thank you.
Thank you,
sister.
Thank you for everything that you do for all of us.
Oh, I'm so grateful. Wow. Amazing.
Now that we got that out the way.
Whoa! I couldn't even imagine.
Please tell me a little bit about Queen Afua and something that you would like to share with my viewers.
Well, there's a few things that I can share. One of which comes to mind is I was given a name, a Ren. Ren means your name that charges you. And one of the names was given to me was the Velvet Sword. That was given to me from Ankara Samaj Sepata. And it gave me that because we were married for 19 powerful years. And I don't like to raise my voice above a whisper. I want to speak straight, strong talk, but I don't believe in yelling and going off because you're losing your center, your ma'at, you lose your power. And me having a history of martial arts, you cannot lose your power. You have to stay focused and centered. And I studied jiu-jitsu with my husband, of my children, and I studied also Aikido. And I'm going to veer off from it. I'm going to give you the name, but I'm going to veer off for just a minute because all the teachings that have been given to me from my birth, my mother and father, it resonates, it still lives. The teachings of our ancient African ancestors, it resonates and it still lives. And in this time, so many of the different teachers that made me who I am, it lives to this day. But in the spirit of the martial art, I remember I had a teacher teaching Aikido, and Jiu-Jitsu, it was Jiu-Jitsu, a Grandmaster Moses Powell. When the baddest dudes walk in, and he had his dojo right on Atlantic Avenue in Brooklyn. It all happened in Brooklyn for me. And he would do that one finger rollout at 300 pounds. How you do one finger rollout with 300 pounds? But anyway, he did that for all those martial arts, you get it. And one of the big things he would say, you have to learn how to fall. And he would have you fall many, many times over, but you had to get up faster. Drop up, drop up, drop up, get up faster. I took that as a lesson of life. I had many drops over the last 53 years. From fires to floods to padlocks to just opening and closing several stores, from Nostrand Avenue to Kingston Avenue to Park Place. And I traveled a lot, and different things happened along the way. And there was a lot, you would consider that a drop, like that might burn you out. So many drops, you may not go any further, you just can't go any further, it's just too much. But every drop, I got back up stronger. Another drop, bam, quicker, another drop faster. So I really take it on as there's no failure to me. It's only lessons learned. And I say in Heal Thyself, every lesson is a blessing. When you get the lesson, you get the blessing. And you come back and you can kick back faster, harder, more profound, because now, because of the drops, if you reflect, you have more wisdom than before when you dropped. So I always ask in the midst of the drop, why am I here? How did it happen? What did I not see? What do I need to do? And when I come back up, I want to come up with that wisdom and that knowledge and that understanding. So oftentimes people say, Queen must be down and out now. And sometimes they ask me, Queen, are you still doing this work? I said, am I still breathing? You think I'm going to stop healing? At what point, when you're on a mission, you got to get to your mission. When you get to your mission and you stay focused, you know that you're being divinely guided by the Most High. I cannot fail my mission, Most High. And my mission is to help my people to resurrect. I cannot fail them. I have to do my work. How in the world can I do that work? How can I get down and get right back up? You know why? Because I heal every day. Healing is not that you just do it when you feel bad. Healing is you get well and you stay well. Healing is when you get well, you stay woke. Healing when you get well, you stay resurrected. And that takes work. From the time I wake up, when I go to serve others, I have to serve myself. That's what the whole premise is, heal thyself. I have to heal myself daily. And when I'm done for the day, I do more healing. And matter of fact, I love healing so much, my fun is healing. My joy is healing. My vacation is healing. And it gave me a healing muscle that I don't let up. And so that resiliency, you know, that part of that was the martial arts that in training with the husband of my children, Shango B.E. May he rest in peace. Back to the I didn't tell you the name that Sanoa Samaj gave to me of 19 years of marriage. He said, you are the velvet sword. I said, okay. The velvet sword does not raise her voice and shout and scream and cry and curse. The velvet sword is a thinker. The velvet sword is centered. The velvet sword taps into the divine and say, divine, what time is it? Where do I go and how do I make it happen? The velvet sword is moving from a place of wisdom. And why the sword? Because if you read from the Persian Ruin Gear, that's the first written text of ancient African spirituality, of all spirituality from our ancestors, there were 21 mothers, queens, guardians, Neteru, and they would cut away corruptible matter, 21 different ways. And within Sacred Woman, one of the ways is through Best. So the knife and the cutting away is the surgical procedure. I do medicine, energy medicine, cutting away by shifting my thoughts, by saying the words that help to transform one, by literally singing to one's soul. When my clients come, I sing to them. I talk to them in a way that I understand them, that I feel them. And so I'm singing to them, and they start to become lifted up and charged. They may just start crying because they never heard anyone sing to them and say how magnificent that they are, that you are the mother and father of civilization, and you still have it in your DNA. So raise up. Come on, let's heal up. The velvet sword stays in a state of ma'at. That's what it is. The velvet sword, ma'at is an ancient African principle that a whole nation was based on. The 42 laws of ma'at, 42 laws of power in the book, but the 42 laws of ma'at from our ancestors from the beginning of time. Those 42 laws tell us in the beginning, I will not. So that's an affirmation. All the 42 saying you will not. Then at the end of the day, you said, I have not desecrated holy places. I have not spoken evil. And it goes on to the 42. And so that's a check and a balance. That's how you check yourself so you don't wreck yourself. So daily you want to stay in ma'at. Ma'at, the glyph of ma'at, the symbol is a scale. On one side of the scale is your heart. On the other side is a feather. It tells you that your heart must always stay balanced, and it may stay as light as a feather. What kind of mystical people, a whole nation based on a principle of balance? But that's what holistic health is all about. That's why we get a massage. That's why we do what they call Reiki, which is African natural lifestyle. That's why we do the herbs, so that we can come into balance and harmony. That's why we put the clay on, to come into balance and harmony. With all of that, to come into ma'at. Ma'at means balance, truth, righteousness, wholeness, reciprocity. You give so that you can receive. It's a circle of life. And that is the premise that I see as the velvet sword. The velvet sword does not carry anger. The velvet sword carries wisdom. So even if somebody's angry at me, I'm not angry at them. I smile a lot. I said, I understand what you're going through. And my prayers go with me, go with you. So someone could yell, curse, I know that they're hurting. Our people are wounded. So why would I lash back at you if you're lashing at me when I know that you are hurting? And you may not be hurting from anything I did or said. It's probably from your mother's mother's mother or your father's father's father. Check the mic of your family. And you will actually see, oh, wait a minute. My mother didn't hug me. I didn't know how to hug. My father wasn't in the home, so I always had empty relationships with mates, men. So there's a message there. That's why we must heal. We must heal, we must restore, we must come into balance. That is the velvet sword. Look, I will close in this. Why did the husband call me the velvet sword? Because if I had an argument, you know what I would do? I would light my frankincense and myrrh before he came home. I would keep the house prayed up, cleaned up, and then I would run a bath. That's what our ancestors did. The healing bath, the hydrotherapy, that comes from our culture and our tradition, to let go of stress and anxiety and to put you into supernatural harmony. I run a bath, and sometimes I put flowers in the bath. And I put oils, sacred oils, that's our culture, in the bath. And I put some jazz music on. And I run in my bath, I said, I have a bath for you. I have a big story to tell. I have something that may have you jump out your skin, but come, here's the bath. And then I would get a stool that was lower than the tub. Everything you do has a science to it when you really start to study our ancientness. So I sat on the stool, which is the seat of Mother Ash, you see on the temple walls to this day, and she looked upon her medicine, the original healer, the mama. And I sat down a little bit lower than the tub, and I will take a gourd, which represents Nebuchadnezzar, the lady of the house. That is my inner spiritual name. Mut Nebuchadnezzar, the lady of the house, the heavenly realm. And I would take the wood and I would pour it in its back, which is its nervous system, because I'm about to share something with you. And so I want you to be so calm and so centered, because that's how I'm going to give it. And so he said, okay, you're the velvet sword. You're telling me something that's really deep, but you say it in such a way that I can actually receive it, even though it's disturbing, but I know it's right because it's the way that you brought it to me. So I would know how to serve in the highest frequency. That's what I teach with Sacred Woman, how to do that so you can stay centered, because if you don't stay centered, you have a heart attack, you have a stroke, you have an aneurysm, you die early, you get obese, you get quick with the tongue, you gossip. There's a lot of things that happens. Divide and conquer, all that stuff happens when you're out of balance. So I'm the Velvet Sword, and I accept that call, that title.
In the past, black women were able to maintain a healthy weight. That seems to change over time. What are some of the things that can affect them regaining them able to maintain a weight?
The weight comes from racism. The weight is not the weight of the body, but it's the weight of the heart. When so many of our young people, young women, young men have been shot in the street, just having melanin. When that happens and we take it to so-called America justice and we get no justice, thank you, Al Sharpton, we get no justice, so we get no peace. And when you get no peace, it affects your nervous system, your mind, your psyche. Now you couple that with the fast food generation. There's fast food, which is empty calories. You eat and eat and eat, but there's no real food. Real food is from the garden. Real food is nature. Real food supplies you with the elements in nature of air, fire, water, earth, so you get substance, you get your nutrition. The reason why we are obese is because we're eating a lot of emptiness, empty heart, broken heart, empty foods. You expand, but it's not an expansion of vitality. It's not an expansion of prosperity. It's an expansion of a broken spirit. So oftentimes the weight is from relationships in the system that don't work, relationships that break us down. And then also so many black women are single parents. You know, many of our young people were raised up in a single parent household. So the mother is stressed. The children are stressed. And I remember a young man came to work with me. He said his mother would call him about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I won't call the names of the corporate fast food kitchens, but she might say, well, do you want this one from that corporate kitchen, fast food, or do you want that one from the corporate one, or you want the third one from the corporate one? And so the mother would be eating that food, feeding to her children, and she still would not be fulfilled. So she's eating and she's expanding and she's not fulfilled, because one way to keep your size is to nourish yourself daily. If you nourish yourself on plant-based, you don't eat as much because it has oxygen, it's vitamins, minerals. So your body is fed. It's like a baby. If the baby doesn't get nourished, the baby will continue to cry for more and more and more. So to eat with awareness, to eat with consciousness, as where I am right now, this is an alkaline cafe. So when I came here, the first thing I asked for, I want a green juice to have vitality and to have a clear, sharp mind. And so I have that. Then I had watermelon with black seeds in it. So just to have that alone, that's giving me nourishment. So that, because to eat with that, I know that my body is open, flexible, I'm creative, I can hear, I could be in tune. So when you're in tune, you don't eat as much, you're more centered. So I offer detoxification to our sisters, and also working in community. If women feel isolated, if they feel alone, they are not going, their lover, their mate, their best friend is going to become the food, as opposed to talking to women in circle. And some women are angry at their sisters because they're angry at their mothers, right? So I always tell the women, call your mother and just say thank you for anything that you could. Because some days, I'm so angry. There one young woman came, she says, Queen, most women are angry at their mothers. I tell her why. Because the mother in this system is supposed to do everything. But a mother in the African consciousness is a part of a community of family. The mother has maybe 50% or 40%. The father in the home, or a brother in the community who has to come sometimes stand in, can be that other 20 or 30%. What about the grandmother, right? And the auntie, they could be that 10%. And that, all of that, what about the uncle? That's another 10. What about your best friend, your next door neighbor, who helps to watch over the children? All of that together, that's the 100%. But what happens, the mother becomes the target for everything. And it's never designed for her to do it all. That's why it said it takes a village to raise a child, but it takes a village to raise a community. And we work together. The mother's not overworked, she's not overworn, and then she's not overeating. It all is the heart. She's overloaded, it's the heart. So the principles, and we're missing a rites of passage too. Because when the women are given a rites of passage, and the men are given a rites of passage, then we have a balance, men and women coming together, birthing healthy children, and they grow to represent the highest frequency of the family. And then everyone's balanced, the children are balanced. The mother is not overweight in her heart, in her mind, in her spirit, because she has the support. And if she's a single mother, she still has a community. That's why we come together in community, because then there are other wonderful men in our community who will support her. And you know, we sometimes go into a blame piece. So we say, well, all the men are this and all the men are that. Women come in to Sacred Women with that tone. And I said, no, those men are you. If you heal yourself, then you heal your reflection. That man in your life or that sister in your life is only coming back as a mirror of yourself. That is why throughout Sacred Woman there is a mirror. The name of the mirror is Heteru. We just developed the mirror from our culture. The mirror is actually not just to see what you are looking like on the outside, but the mirror is to see what you're looking like on the inside. So when someone comes to you angry, violent, or sick, they're showing a part of yourself that needs healing. So go within and heal yourself too while you're shifting relationships, but they all start within you. Food is medicine. That is my foundation. It's through the food as medicine that was my medicine that helped to heal myself from my asthma, my allergies, my eczema, my arthritis, my headaches, my heavy bleeding and clotting as a woman every month. And that was what I was eating. I was eating foods that was fast food, junk food, fried foods, toxic substances. I call it substance, like substance abuse through food. What is your drug? My drug was food. I was ignorant. I had no knowledge. So I myself had to heal myself through food as medicine. So I've learned that vitamins, minerals are hormonal imbalance in women. When women's hormones are out of balance, they find themselves quick to anger. They find themselves in states of depression. They find themselves growing fibroid tumors. And fibroid tumors in itself is an issue. So that is a lack of nutrition, a lack of minerals, the hormones out of balance, and also the food. Eating a high-level meat diet, a high-level flesh diet, throws your hormones out of balance, throws your estrogen out of balance. So as you start to actually take a plant-based lifestyle, liquid and solid meals, eating foods that are sun-cooked foods, then all of the minerals and vitamins are kept in the food. Once you fry it, once you freeze it, you kill the minerals. So that's processed food. So that's just some of what I have to share. And then with the women, usually fibroid tumors are accompanied by extra weight in the body, right? 90% of women have fibroid tumors, black women. 90% of black women have fibroid tumors. And when the book Sacred Women came out in 2000, it's 45%. Now, 2023, 90% of black women have fibroid tumors, and it's the dairy, the flesh, the fried, the fast, the anger, the stress, all of that together is growing that fibroid. So I always say the fibroid is crystallized mucus, emotional, psychological, relationship, and toxic food, mucus forming substance that we call a fibroid. So we got to go through a womb wellness detox. And that's one of my foundational works that I do and offer to the women as we are letting go of that excess emotional and physical weight.
Okay. Thank you for that. And can you, my next, you sort of kind of answering some of the questions that I was about to ask you because it's complete. But I wanted to ask you about this one lady wanted to know, when they're going through pregnancy, is there any herbs or food that you would recommend that they implement into their diet?
Pregnancy?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. When women are either preparing, I would always say prepare for pregnancy, because the statistics shows us that 45% of black women are dying in childbirth. That means our babies are dying with us. And we're in a crisis. The more prepared you are, the healthier you are before conception, and your mate. The health that you are both before conception, it will help to secure that you'll go full term and you'll come through healthy without edema. Women gain excess weight during their menstrual flow. Their kidneys are failing. Without emotional stress. That's when women are crying and they're breaking down emotionally and going through bouts of depression. So we can avoid that. Or even the baby going through a crisis and being in a labor for 25 and 30 hours is because the mother has not prepared herself enough. So it's up to the wise woman, prepare yourself for conception. Some of the ways to do that: berries, have berries daily, blueberries, blackberries, raspberries, cranberries, all the berry family. Take a cup of it, or half a cup of it a day. You can make it into a smoothie. You can make it into a juice. You can put it in with other fruits on top of your pears, your apples, your natural fruits, and take that in on a daily basis or every other day. That would be helpful. Also, for those women who are bleeding heavy, you would take shepherd's purse. Shepherd's purse will help to cut back on the bleeding. And when I say bleeding heavy, if you're bleeding right now, even before conception, if you've been bleeding for 5, 6, 7 days, you're actually hemorrhaging. And if you are bleeding that heavy, that means maybe a tumor is in the uterus. So when you conceive, there'll be a battle between where the tumor is going to continue to grow because of the hormones, and the baby's going to be growing. It's going to be a battle. So some women don't go full term. They end up letting go of their babies in the 4th or 5th month. So that is a crisis even there. So the preparation is everything. The menstrual flow should be no more than a few hours, 1 day, 2 hours, 1 to 2 or 3 days, and a light bleeding, and also no pain. There should be no pain. And most of them say, how is that even possible? My mother had the pain. My grandmother had pain during her menses. I'm having pain. All my friends have pain. So we have painkillers. And when you even have what's called a painkiller, you numb out your womb. And over time, women intimate with their mates, they don't have an orgasm. They're not connected because everything is all numbed out and shut down. So once you start to clean up and cleanse, and your menstrual goes from 7, 6 to 5 to 4 to 3 days, 2 days with no pain, the tumors have shrunk, the womb is flushed out, the colon is up, the bladder is up, all the organs in their rightful position. That means your heart is in its rightful position because you're taking care of yourself. You're giving yourself wound care love. That means that your mind is in high position because if you take care of your heart, your emotions, you also must take care and feed your brain. If you do not feed your brain with whole foods and green foods is number 1. Take some form of green every day. That's sun-cooked foods. We are sun people. This melanin must be supplied with sun-cooked foods. So sun-cooked foods from the sun, it goes into the plant, gives us photosynthesis. We take in that green, we become vibrant mentally. Our minds are strong. We don't have brain. We don't have what's called a slow brain. Our brain is active and charged. Our nervous system is fed through the chlorophyll. Our heart becomes stronger through the green, the chlorophyll. Our womb becomes healthy and more vibrant, and all that is through the chlorophyll. Our skin becomes more radiant because of the chlorophyll, the fluids from the sun. Sun to the plants, to the body, is the radiance. There is a prayer that our ancestors gave to us in the beginning of time. And I say green, cucumber, watercress, parsley. The darker the green, the greater the healing. This prayer is golden are my limbs, sunlight. Blue, my crown, high mind, Nefertum. And emerald, my body. Emerald, my body means that your body is so empowered. It's the body of a Tsar. It's the body of the built strong one. And that's the foods that we must take in. Stay away from the white foods. White rice, white bread, white pasta. Stay away from the white foods. It's the green foods, it's the red foods. Those are the primary foods that will help to repair and build the womb of a woman, which is then the womb of a nation. If you heal a woman, you do heal a nation.
Okay, I myself was on the Breakfast Club and it changed my life in a significant way. How does being on the Breakfast Club, how did it reflect your life? And before you answer that, let me just let you know that Charlemagne told me that you changed the whole energy in the building when you came in there.
Wow. Well, I'm actually sitting in the seat when I went into the studio for the Breakfast Club, and I saw these shots. I said, these are the royal kings. You know, this is our ancestral seat. That's what's so powerful. This represents the throne, and that came out of the spirit from the Breakfast Club, the seat. So when I came here today and I saw the throne, I said, we are raising up, you know, because that's the power, is to come back. As represents the throne. That's the great mother, not Isis, but Mother Ast, or Set. Asar represents the throne and the king man. And so we must come back to our thrones. So when I went to the Breakfast Club and opened up the door, I said, whoa, is that what time it is? Wow. And it really, I was in awe because they were so supportive of me coming. And I said, I must have done something good in life because their support was so extremely wonderful. And of course, it helps. This is my second time, was my second time on the Breakfast Club. And it has grown my company and my business. It has brought so much attention to my work. And oftentimes when I go, you know, city to city, different places, I saw you in the Breakfast Club. That's like a mantra every day. A chant, a hesti. I saw you in the Breakfast Club. That actually builds to the credibility. So I want to say to the Breakfast Club family, thank you for your supernatural support of our works, because it's ours. What I'm doing is for us. And for you to recognize that this work has impacted our community and that I can do my portion and you were supported to this way, thank you so much. And that this unity, I know that everyone who's ever been on the Breakfast Club, you know, it's been a blessing to all of us, so thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. I have a Dr. Sebi question for you. Did you ever meet Dr. Sebi? And do you have a Dr. Sebi story for us?
Yes, I met him over and over and over. Because I consider myself and Dr. Sebi comrades, wellness comrades. I'll give wellness salute to Dr. Sebi, who continues to live. He continues to live because we call his name, and we pray that what we learned from him, that we will continue his work. One of the experiences of Dr. Sebi is his resiliency, is that no matter what happens on the journey of life, he kept going. Because no one really knows what a healer may go through. They show up, they do a workshop class, a seminar, consultation, but to get to there, it's a journey. And sometimes it reminded me what something happened to him on one level, happened to me on another level. I remember I came back to my wellness center, one of my centers, and there was a fire, and I had to go out and speak with Dr. Ju Pulcrum. I believe it was in Detroit. She was, at that time, she just retired from being a surgeon, but she still was working with women's health, women's womb works. Well, on the other hand, and the next day I had it without missing a beat. All my products was gone, everything was on fire. Okay, but I had to still get on that plane and keep moving. And I remember Dr. Sebi had a moment in his life where he came to his place of business, his computers were gone, his products was gone, Now, I never heard the background story, what happened, but I know he had to end up being resilient again, yet again, and come back again. And he just came back with more force and more fire. And I remember he was coming to LA, and his business started building back up again. Because sometimes you can work with people who love you, and sometimes they work with you and they don't, because we have differences. And growing a business, it is more than what meets the eye. It takes, you know, to supply your team, to encourage them, to stay together, because sometimes the healer has a vision that everyone around may not agree with. But that vision still is a strong vision. So that was one of the experiences with Dr. Sebi. But Dr. Sebi, I remember I felt so warm about it when I went to St. Croix. And I don't like to use the word regret, but it was in my book, Sacred Woman, and I was stirring this big pot to just symbolize that we got to go into the kitchen lab and make that kitchen food medicine work for our body temples. And he was standing right next to me because he introduced me to St. Croix. And you know, that was really warming to my heart. So I'm grateful for him. And of course, I usually talk about him when we first met, when he came to Brooklyn, and my 3 girlfriends who were healers, we were like a healing team. And one of our friends, it was Dr. Rashawn, it was Camille Nalata, it was Diana Farr, and Camille said, we got to go see Dr. Sebi. We said, well, who's Dr. Sebi? So he's a healer, he's a herbalist. We got to see what he's doing. I heard great things about him. So we gathered as a posse of wellness, and we was on Carroll Street in Brooklyn, and it was in a basement. You know, sometimes it's humble beginnings, and he showed what he does and how he did and why the alkaline, why the natural foods in this way. So that was just another wonderful experience that I had with him on the journey of life. So Dr. Sebi is very much active now. He's even more active now in the spirit than sometimes in the flesh. Because I hear those who follow Dr. Sebi's path, they're opening up juice bars and healing centers. They continue the work. I had the privilege of being with my aunt. She came to my center years ago. I believe Dr. Sebi's first wife, and she continues to do her work. And so I'm grateful. So the relationships with the healers, we just have to continue staying close and staying connected. And although, as Dr. Africa made his transition, Dr. Africa is near and dear to my heart as well. And I'll continue to pour libation and call his name as we call Imhotep, the father of modern medicine and the father of all medicine.
Great. Thank you for that. Okay, I have 3 more questions for you, okay?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Sacred Women is an amazing book that I've seen in most of the women black women in my world have it. What made you put that together, and how long did it take you to write it?
Sacred Woman, Rites of Passage, the journey to healing the feminine body, mind, and spirit. It was 7 years. It was 7 years writing. And it wasn't like a light writing. It was sometimes I would write for 3, 5, and 10 hours in one day. And in a whole week, I might write 30 hours. And I didn't type it. It was all longhand. And then I would have typists that would type my longhand, because it's all meditation and study and vision. And they would type, and I would get it back, and then I would edit that, and then I'd give it back. And thank you, Jerry Ann Scott. She's been with me for 35 years through all my texts. And so that grassroots editing, she would help me with that. And that was a 5-year process. And Senor Angrasamase Patah, the cultural historian of the work of the book, he was also a major part in my questioning him every day. You know, what about this and what about that? One of the things he would say, go to the glyphs. Study the glyphs and channel, because I was fasting all the time and cleansing all the time. I could pick up signs and symbols and messages and what the ancestors was telling us in these symbols, because it's a whole language in symbols. That's a language in itself. So those are some of the ways in which it came together. Then after I finished writing, it was about 1,200 pages. And initially it wasn't a Sacred Woman book alone. It was Sacred Woman, Sacred Man. That book, Sacred Woman, Sacred Man, was actually given to my book agent And my book agent took the book, and she then connected me to Random House through Cheryl Woodruff. Marie Brown was the book agent. And they said they wanted to take the book on, but they have many questions, about 17 questions. And if I can answer those 17 questions, then in a way that they said we can stand behind this book, they would take it. I answered the question. It took me 3 months, 12 weeks to answer those questions and have it retyped, edited, and everything else. So I did my homework, and then they said, we want to take you in. And it was 2 years of development, of questions upon questions and research upon research. And so inside of that, then I went into with Random House with the text. And then they took the 1,200 pages and they distilled it to 400 and some pages. And there were about 28 people that were surrounding that book. We had illustrators, we had the artwork done by Michael Brown out of Washington, that beautiful art. But what was asked of me was to actually do a presentation of just a picture of me, how I see Sacred Woman. So I sat down with my hands open, as you see the cover. That's not me, but that cover represents all of the black women. And we sat, and I sat, and I had a eucalyptus leaf on one side of me. And I had a feather, which represents my eye balance and truth. And then I had the symbol of the Nile, the mother of the Nile there. And I had locks down to my waist. And I was in prayer, because it took prayer every day to channel, to receive this knowledge from our ancestors. I did live in the Brooklyn Museum Library for about 3 years. I was there. And I would go, it was on the 3rd floor in the back of the Brooklyn Museum. And there was everything I could ever ask for. There was librarians, I call them eyes that never had sister to sister. They were librarians, would take out, if I said, well, give me information on sacred dance, on dance of our ancestors, they would pull it out. Give me information on aromatherapy from our ancestors, they would pull that out. Give me information on energy work, they would pull something out. Give me information on color therapy, they would pull that out. I asked all the different forms of holistic medicine, where did it come from? Because holistic medicine did not start with the Europeans. Holistic medicine started with ancient African Nile Valley ancestors, which I studied, and I said, so we have to unearth the truth. And when we unearth the truth on our natural medicine, air, fire, water, earth, that's all African principles, then we would know how to heal ourselves and get rid of this health disparities that we're suffering from broken families, broken homes, broken hearts, high blood pressure, diabetes, cancer, and all of that is just because we are unconscious of how to heal ourselves holistically and naturally. When it becomes a norm, how to heal ourselves and reclaim ourselves, that we're no longer sick. So out of all of this, the book, it took those 7 years. It was a 7-year devotion and commitment to bring that document to the people.
Wow. I didn't know it took that long. Okay. All right. Here at the Alkaline Oasis, we're naming a lot of our smoothies or drinks after our leaders. What's your favorite smoothie, and do you mind if we name one after you?
I would like you to receive the womb fruit julep. The womb fruit julep actually is inside of Sacred Woman book for the women in the chapter of womb wellness. And it is berries, blueberries, blackberries, raspberries, cranberries, strawberries, all the berry family that builds up your blood. If you lose your blood, you lose your life. So many women are suffering from losing so much blood that they end up getting a blood transfusion, which is dangerous to get somebody else's blood. Because you think you're just getting physical blood, but blood is a consciousness. So that person could be a violent person, it could be a sick person, and you're taking in their blood. They cannot clean the consciousness out of the blood. They can only clean the physicality of the blood. So you take this blood because you're losing blood, when if you build up your blood, then you would not have to go through that procedure. So that is the womb fruit julep that is coming out of the Womb Care Love Line that myself and my daughter created together.
Thank you.
So we want you to have that. And then you can get some organic apple juice or pear juice, which is alkaline, and blend that with the powder of the womb fruit julep, and the womb would be fortified and rejuvenated.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Okay. This is the second to last question. If you could meet the young version of yourself, what message would you give her?
You know, that stops me in my tracks, that question of if I could meet my young self. Well, I would tell her that she's an artist. You're still an artist. And, you know you had dance companies as a teenager. And you danced at the Metropolitan Opera House. And you danced throughout Brooklyn, some other cities as a teenager. That though you're doing healing, you're going to have to go on a journey of healing, which would incorporate elemental healing of air, using breath to heal, using water to heal, using fire, sunlight to heal, and live foods, using earth, minerals to heal. It's going to appear that you have moved away from the dancer in you, the singer, the so-called actress, but I'm here to tell you that you have not. Because in Sacred Woman, we bring the art of the woman. It is an artful skill to be a woman, balanced and whole and beautiful from in and out. That is art. And that when we have and I would tell her, you're going to have ascension ceremonies. And those ascension will be their graduation of their 12 weeks. And when we have that, you're going to be giving them art. They're going to talk their stories. And those stories will be their sacred dramas from death, Sacred Woman, from death to resurrection. And they will dance, and they will do their poetry, and they will sing, because that is our culture. That the medicine man and woman, they taught through not only the plants, but through meditation, through dance, through drumming, through the shekere. All of this was our medicine. So it was holistic. And you're going to be more holistic than ever. So your art is still alive and well. So very nice. And I will tell her that you're going to go through some real heavy changes. There's going to be some fires and some floods and divorces that I call transformation. But to the younger you're going to go through a lot. But that is always necessary to help you to grow. So stay focused and keep the faith. You'll get to the other side, and it will be wonderful.
Great message, great message. Okay, well, here on the Journey Continues, what's the name of my podcast? I had a lot of amazing healers here, and my final question to all of you guys are, what do healing mean to you? Healing
means to me everything. It means life. Healing is a way of life. Healing should be consumed from the time that you wake up throughout your day, some level of healing. And that healing enriches us. It keeps our hearts clean and healthy, our minds strong and vibrant, our relationships forgiving and loving. It helps us to rebuild again, to reset again, to overcome insurmountable issues. I'm growing more mature. As they say, growing old, I'm getting more mature. I'm getting wiser because of the healing. I'm getting better because of the healing. Through my womb yoga dance, I become more flexible because of the healing. So for me, healing is everything. And healing is, my makeup artist, she came. I said, oh, I see her healing. Look at those gold toes. Oh, look at that orange pants that she has on with the flow look. And the earrings and all. That is medicine for the eyes. That's medicine for the spirit. Someone may have oils on them and you take that in. That's another form of medicine. Medicine is unlimited, and we have it all. African people, black people, we have the medicine. It's in our DNA. Just being, we are medicine. And being with each other in a whole way, and we're natural and loving and kind and excited about life. That is the medicine. I just came back from the African Natural Festival here in Brooklyn, International Arts Festival. And I've been away for a few years, but I was just there, and it was so enchanting. I saw Lady Prima, I saw Brother Infadishi, I saw all the various healers, and it was so much for my soul that I'm going to go again and again, because the more I see us, the better I get. Give thanks.
Great, great. Okay, before we get out of here, I want to thank you, Queen Mother, for blessing us. And I also want to ask you, where can my followers or my friends find you? The social media, website?
Yes. Check my IG, Queen Afua. Please put it up. Or check my IG, I come on. And also, we're developing a podcast. So look out for the next 30 days. There'll be a podcast that will be out. But for everything, for my rites of passage for Sacred Woman, you can register now and be ready and prepare for September when we go through our 12 weeks of the rites of passage and the retreat to prepare you for your 12 weeks of the rites of passage. You can check out, also we have Womb Care Love coming up also in September. You can register now, and I will have orientations and preparations. Any woman suffering at any issues with her womb issues, infertility, to heavy bleeding and clotting, to toxic relationships from her past that she cannot forgive, to a fibroid, whatever it may be, endometriosis, come and take the Womb Care Love training. And I'll be teaching, it's a system, it's called Abuam Ka'at. Abuam Ka'at is womb yoga dance based on the glyphs of our ancestors to bring our souls to life. So those are the teachings that I have to offer. And you can get the books on Amazon.com, from Sacred Woman to Impeccable Listening to Heal Thyself. And in 2 weeks, everyone can get, I would say August, you'll be able to get the City of Wellness. Food is medicine. Thank you.
And you know I never been tested, cause my rights I keep it protected. And the test is causing infections and their masses out of the question. So y'all say I'll be grinding, then y'all say I'll be rhyming, but I listen very closely and it sound like you're lying. And you know I never been tested, cause my rights I keep it protected. And the test is causing infections and their masses out of the question. I set up a trust, all these businesses bubbling like I'm boiling the moss. I pull up in the coloring. Pardon me as I deliver my soliloquy. Poetry that's smooth in essence like I ink calligraphy. Always be accusing me of raising up the frequency. And I stay secluded with my oracle so peacefully. Listen to my